let's proceed.
Yes. All right. So, I would like to know if there will be any changes regarding the matchmaking when it comes to classes.
So what Alexander said is that we are constantly tracking all the maps, all the battles, and we gather all that massive pool of statistics. And now it shows like no some drastic differences depending on team composition. So put it in simple, it's like according to statistics, it's not like a big problem there. Go ahead. So what Alexander said is that there may be some like minor issues in team composition, but we believe that the two main things that we need to cover, like when matchmaking teams, is to still have some variability in team composition, so not matches are like one and the same in terms of like how it works out. And the second very important thing is that waiting time should still be like within some decent time, because the more rules we apply to matchmaking, the longer waiting time gets. That's the point.
We talk about the compensation of heavies and all this stuff, but I think one important question many players wrote to me is, do you balance the number of auto reloaders too in future? So there are many battles with an uneven number of auto loaders on both sides.
Okay, thanks, Ripple.
Yes. So we're continuing the previous thread here because Alexander was speaking about the same matchmaking rules. So if we consider autoloader tanks as a separate tank class, this is how we extend the time you wait for battle, and this is unacceptable for us. And also I would like to add that this has also come to the battle variety. So it's absolutely okay to clash a single shot heavy tank and a heavy tank with autoloader or auto reloader. This is how the game works. This is how the random works. So you have to prove that the type of gun you have doesn't matter. So it's all about your skill, your tactics, and so on.
So starting this one off just simple. So replays was a great idea. I mean, when we got it, we were YouTubers and players are able to look back at the games. But I know the rewind ability is in the game files, but currently to rewind on replays, we have to press the escape key on PC, reload it up, and then if we miss it again, have to go back. So not only for being a YouTuber, but just actually just trying to get a spot in your replay and not being able to rewind 5 seconds is something that I feel like should be fixed with the replay system.
Yeah, first of all, just hello. I'm sorry I won't be enabling my webcam for long because I'm kind of ill now. I'm sorry, but to greet you, just hello. And now, yeah, some little addition about the replays. So you probably might have thought that it seems not important for wargaming, and they are not doing that. What the hell? The main reason or underlying reason is that technically it's a really tough thing. It might sound like a very simple task. So whatever, you're just loading a replay, and what if you just press back and just got back? But okay, I can talk very long about replays, but you should understand that it's really tough thing, and it works like real life works. So, you know, in our universe, processes are irreversible. They can't be rewind because every entity and everything has its own timeline and its own number of states that are changing continuously. And so Big World Engine, our server engine, also has entities and objects, and our just client maps, tanks, shells, all have their states. And imagine that a replay is a log file. It's a text file, basically. So you cannot just rewind it like a video file. And when, for example, you're watching a replay and you stopped it somewhere, and lots of events have happened during that time, then you gotta rewind it back. And when you press some time in the past, you have to rewind every state, every shot, every broken object, everything. You don't just have to get back to the video file like a stream. You have to recreate the battle again from the scratch at that exact point. And of course, it's doable, but it's kind of too hard for this task to be just done like right away. And to be honest, we canceled a feature like benchmarking in the game because it should have used replays and there were problems with them. But as soon as we are ready, we will deliver that to you. So
this feature has really high position in our backlog for our game, but tech team which work with this feature sometimes need to change on another feature because sometimes they work with really critical problems like we had a month ago on our Google Play and etc. But yeah, we are working with this feature and we hope we can deliver it soon for you and for other guys.
Mine's a short question, well, shorter question, but it's two questions in one. The recent Polish heavies have got the new consumable tungsten shells. So the questions are, firstly, what was the theory behind the new consumable? And secondly, are you planning to roll that consumable out to other lines? Like you did with, well, like Wargaming did with this super speed boost, for example?
Because we want to give something interesting. So the random in our battles is a little bit short sometime, and we want like to do it a little bit shorter. Mm-hmm. And also they think that it might be interesting for our players. We play test a lot of consumables like, you know, airplanes that drop something, some X-rays and so on, so on. So we R&D some consumables and ammunition, and we finds that this one is more or less interesting, and so we put it in the game. In this situation, like in the Polish tree, we want to give something unique. So we think about it, and maybe we will, but also maybe in some differences, some changes. We will do some changes in it, mm-hmm. like a little bit change characteristics and X-rays. Okay, and yes. So maybe yes, we will see it in like next year.
Will Wargaming add some of the older or newer low tier tanks back so that people actually have some variety to play in the low tiers?
My question is, will there be any potentially events or features that could come to low tiers that would make them more attractive to play?
Will we add something interesting for lower tiers? I think the question was about 5th, 7th, 6th these tiers, or lower than 5th?
Between 1 and 7, really.
From
a lot of attention is 1 to 6.
Yeah. I think that from 1 to the 4th level, it is the level of education, where the levels where player study how to play the game. And from the 5th level, in my mind, in our vision, from the 5th level, it is the main game from the 5th level. Sometimes 4th, but from the 5th. Here, from the 5th level, sometimes 4th, we will add some interesting thing like events, tasks. If you can see the personal tasks in the storage, so we will add there, and it is one of the themes which I which I am working now. So it's personal events for players on these levels. It's one thing. And what about the second question about add something on the lower tier from 1st to 4th? I still believe that we make this level simpler. but we still have opportunity to get these tanks in some events, in some, for example, battle passes, and you can play there. And I still believe that for newcomers, it is simpler and it is better for them not to have so many choices here, because we saw how they play. We have a lot of videos of the player, how they playing, a lot of statistics about it, and we know that so many choices in the low tiers isn't good for them. And from the 4th level, from the 5th level, just everything is open, all classes, all tanks. From the 5th level, we have all classes, all. I think the main part of tanks we saved in the game in the 5th level. In 4th, yes, we cut something, but you can still have it in battle passes, in events, in bundles, and everywhere, a lot of places where you can get it. We have one interesting feature which gives players interest to play on the 5th, 6th, 8th, 7th, any tank you want. And the goals for these tanks, I think this feature will be not very far from now. So I think it's
some spoilers. Yeah, wait for this interesting feature for the medium tiers.
I understand where wargaming is coming from. I understand 5.5, etc. But do you think deep down that the ×5 boosters that we have is allowing players to just jump into those top tiers far too quickly and therefore neglecting the middle and the lower tiers?
I just want to add a bit. So first, guys, yeah, it's true that maybe lately we make the road to tier tank a bit easier, but you know, it's definitely significant for us, for you, for good players. Yeah, good players can use the possibility of these certificates very effectively and can make their road to tier 10 shorter twice, maybe triple times, maybe even quadruple it. But a regular, usual newcomer in our game don't know how to use those certificates appropriately. They don't have enough skill for using it well, for making good results in battles. So that's why we didn't boost them as much as we boost already good experienced players with this stuff, with these certificates. This is the first.
I think for some experienced player that they are playing a long time, it will be something nice. I see a lot of new explosions in the game, so I think the engine should be ready. Yeah, will it be? When will it be? I think that's a good question.
So gun marks, who is our lucky death? Dmitry, yes.
I will start shortly. That we will not have gun marks in the nearest future, but now we work on a very similar feature to it that give a goal while playing a tank that you have already researched a long time ago, put it into top, installed all the models, but it's at least in the nearest future it won't be gun marks. Maybe Insider can explain why, but still the feature that we are working on, which, as I said, very similar to gun mark. I hope you will like it all.
Yeah, so some of you guys might be confused about the gun marks because they seem, again, very easy thing to implement, but there are just different technologies. You're looking at the tanks with moving armor, at some PBR textures, at improved 3D models, but that's kind of different. And that has to be so basically we are talking about decals, yeah. So with texture, with some alpha, some translucency, yeah. So, and when they're placed against other textures, so desktop GPUs, video cards are absolutely okay with that, but mobile GPUs are struggling often.
What are Wargaming's plans to do more against toxicity?
It's not like when such crazy or mad or very evil people post something like this in a chat, they go away only with 1 day or 3 day bans. So the support considers his bans history, and if a person keeps violating the rules, so the punishment goes bigger and bigger, even up to permanent chat. So this thing works, and just don't think it's useless to spend a couple of minutes to send a ticket, because it's like your credit history, you know.
Yeah.
So if our support team faces players that are only that want only to insult others, to ruin others' experience, they will act in a proper way.
So I know about the feature that improve the filter in chat that that my colleagues are working on. So maybe in some next version we will see how it will become better. And the second, we are working, my team working on improvement of Battle Honor. So we want to implement some report system in the game. There you can report some players about inappropriate behaviors, like what about some chat issues, some away from keyboard issues, and so on. So I think that the world become better after that.
Personally, I thought to make the queues faster and to make rating more based on skill would be make it only tech tree available tanks, and make it so that it's only one specific tier. So maybe tier 10, like PC has their frontline or whatever their game mode is, where you have to play all the same tier. And I think that might be a better way to make the queues shorter for all one tier, and at the same time keep it so that it's not spamming of overpowered tanks.
It's definitely a mistake that exclusion of premium tanks will make queue better. I would say that will make the matchmaker work better, because really a lot of players would stop playing rating battles if they won't be able to play it with their favorite tanks. Maybe with a bit OP tanks, let's say so. Yeah, that's true. And the second part of your proposal about tier 10 rating battles, we started this rating system from tier 9 and 10 first year, and then maybe not a year, maybe in a half of the year, I don't remember quite well, we add 7th and 8th grades, and the audience becomes bigger. So I think that if we will cut it, it won't help, because we had this experience, and we see that adding new levels just make the players, the amount of players wider. So I think the reverse of this stuff won't help us, unfortunately.
We have a question from Meadsy.
Meadsy asked many times if there is any way to make the community contributors more present to the people. So perhaps if you look at the big World of Tanks, there are in the game or sort of it, I've thought it would be a good idea. He said if there are YouTube links or somewhere findable or anything like that. Yeah.
So I think in some way we can put that we're already on the way to it. I mean, our like recent activities like catch content creator, community contributor, or like defeat your CC or whatever. I mean it because we had all the links listed in the in-game use, both on website and in-game client to your channels. I know that's not fully what Meadsy meant, but I think it's like partially covers it. And we're also open to any new ideas that you guys might have. And I believe that this should be like a two-side collaboration. When we provide you with like new tools and new opportunities and give you more visibility, and that helps you like and that makes your like community contributor or content creator life easier and allows you to provide like more types of content, like more various content. So yeah, my main point is that we're open to it and we can discuss it. So whatever you want, guys. I'm always open for discussion. And we have 2 questions, I think.
Yeah, quick spoiler for you guys. Now we are working with special player profile for community contributor. And I think it will be interesting for you too.
Yeah, I wish we could show it right now, but it's still being designed.
No,
so
it's
yeah, a bit
in
later.
design, yeah.
Oh, and shall we give the spoiler? I think it's high time. I think the question is like very.
Roman.
So yeah, we are working with Alexandra and Tony. So we're designing the Battle of Bloggers event. So there's no details, but I think we will launch it and then we try more and more and better next times. So I can give you some details, but the bloggers will involved very closely. So
They will not only be involved,
stay
they will
tuned.
be
Yes.
the main part of it. So that's the main point.
So,
so in terms of giving you visibility, it will be like a huge push.
Yeah, this is the main idea actually.
Would wargaming ever consider a sort of, I don't know, a rental system or a try before you buy?
We also discussed it from many times in our company, and we don't have some common solution for that. The most general thing is that I lost my thought. What was it about? Yeah, and that's different tanks require different time to learn it, to understand how to play it, and the first impression that you can have while playing tank for 5, 10, or even 50 battles can be wrong, and can lead to wrong decision, wrong conclusion, and wrong opinion that someone can spread to the audience. And that is the main reason why we don't do that. But still, we're thinking about it, and we don't исключаем по-английски. When we don't exclude it from the future.
Let's talk. I mean, it's something that I think a lot of people are complaining about it. It's about balancing a special on a level 7. Because I know that it's hard to balance a game because there are some tanks that are stronger and other they are harder to drive, but they are 2 tanks like Cold Smasher and Annihilator. Is planned in future to balance there something? I mean, we could say right now, yeah, it's funny and hard to play versus them and stuff like that, but at the end, I think a special level 7 is really hard balanced. Is there any change in the future or what's going on there?
So Alexander says that he agrees that tier 7 is a bit out of balance comparing to other tiers. That we agree upon. A couple tanks that Alexander personally wants to, let's put it directly, nerf a bit. But as soon as we do it, we suppose that you guys will be the first to tell that, come on guys, you're nerfing premium tanks. Maybe a bit more direct than Alexander said, but we do see the problem with these 2 tanks. And we are looking for solutions that are not as direct as just nerfing them. But we see it and we are working on it. And yeah, we'll see how it works out. There's
a feature on PC known as the anonymizer, which enables players to hide their username when in battle. Is there a plan for that in Blitz? And if so, when would that be?
Yes, we have this idea, and we want to add this opportunity, but we don't know when.
So stay tuned. We'll keep you posted, of course, but we're working on this idea.
With